I don't want to be here on Mother's Day. He should know, right? He should know that what I really wanted. This is not my idea of Mother's Day. He should care enough to figure it out. Hey, Mother's Day is coming, and I'm hearing on client calls worries popping up already, right? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, like, why doesn't he just know what I want? Why do I always have to tell him? If he really loved me, well, he'd just know how to make me happy. And then, well, when he doesn't, you feel disappointed, right? Unseen, unimportant, unloved, and eventually resentful. And what's worse is most wives I work with don't even realize that this is what's happening. They think the problem is their husband. But often, the real problem is hidden expectations. Hidden expectations are one of the fastest ways to create resentment in your marriage. Hi, I'm Coach Carol with Beloved Marriage Coaching, where I help Catholic wives heal their hearts, reconnect with themselves, and create peaceful, loving marriages without dragging their husband to therapy. And today, we're talking about one of the sneakiest ways we create pain in marriage: expecting our husband to read our mind. Well, we're not even fully honest with ourselves. Here's what this often looks like. You say yes to going to the Mother's Day baseball game, but inside, you don't really want to go. You're tired. You wanted a quiet afternoon. You wanted connection. You wanted to get out of the kitchen for sure, right? But you wanted to be together, maybe a glass of wine on the porch, maybe, little cards from the kids, or maybe breakfast out. You wanted quiet family time. Maybe you wanted to go to the beach or the lake. But instead of saying that, you go to the game. You smile, you pack the snacks, you sit in the bleachers, you do the thing. And the whole time, something in you is quietly hardening. Because what you're really thinking is, he should know I don't want to be here on Mother's Day. He should know, right? He should know that what I really wanted. This is not my idea of Mother's Day. He should care enough to figure it out. But, my friend, how can he honor a desire that you never expressed? How can he respond to a longing that you haven't even admitted to yourself? And this is where resentment is born. Not because he failed, but because you abandoned yourself and expected him to rescue from it. This is the deeper work. People-pleasing is a form of control. Most women are not even actually angry at the husband. They're angry because they've become disconnected with themselves, and they're out there trying to please everybody else and do all the things they don't even realize, right? But disconnected from what you actually want and how you feel. And when you're disconnected from yourself, you begin expecting everybody else to do the work of figuring out what you want. But it's a heavy burden for our husband. Your husband was never meant to be your mind reader. He was never meant to be your emotional manager. He was never meant to be responsible for creating your happiness. That, my friend, is an inside job. And this is the sacred work between you and God. So what do you do instead? So first, I invite you to slow down, reconnect with yourself and ask, what do I even want? What do I really want to do Mother's Day? Right? Not what should I want? What would make everybody else happy? Not what makes me look like a good wife or a good mother, but what do I actually want? Do I want rest, connection, peace, to feel cherished? Maybe you want flowers, right? Yes, flowers. Maybe to laugh with the kids, quiet time. Maybe you need support. So many wives have spent years performing goodness that they've lost connection to their own desires because they're all over everybody else's paper, taking care of everybody else. But desire, my friend, it's data. On a recent client call, we processed her struggle with feeling like she should go to her mother's and her sisters, but what she really wanted to do was to go to the lake with her kids. But as we processed it, she actually got in touch with a true desire that she wanted to enjoy her mom since her mom is getting older, and she got to a place of peace. That's the power of coaching. So once you know what you want, I invite you to practice vulnerability, not control or criticism or silent disappointment. Vulnerability is clearly communicating what you want. So instead of, you always make us do what you want, with that silent treatment for a long time and just going begrudgingly, try, I would really love a quiet afternoon with you and the kids. Or instead of, you never think about me, try, I'd love to feel close to you tonight. Instead of expecting him to read your mind, tell him what you would love. Like I said, flowers or the dinner out or the ocean or the beach, whatever it is. Instead of complaining that his communication is terrible, you take the first step and you communicate exactly what it is that you're hoping for. That is feminine strength, and it's emotional maturity, and it's intimacy. And then comes the hardest part, okay? Letting go of the expectation. Because you're going to express the desire, but then you release it to see what happens. And this is where peace lives, because expectation says it has to look exactly like this for me to be okay. But trust says, I can express my desire, I can stay open, and then receive whatever is offered. But maybe he'll say yes. Great, right? But maybe he tries, but imperfectly. And then I just invite you to receive that effort. Maybe he doesn't respond the way you hoped. You're still okay. Because your peace was never meant to depend on his perfect response. It was meant to be rooted in Christ. The most powerful question you can ask yourself is this: how do I want to feel? Do I want to feel connected, cherished, peaceful, playful, rested, loved? Then ask, how can I begin to create that feeling right now? Because when you stop demanding that your husband create your emotional reality, you become free, my friend. And from that freedom, you become softer, clearer, more peaceful, more magnetic, more connected to yourself, to him, to God. All of it starts to spiral up. Everything changes. So if this spoke to your heart and you're realizing how much hidden resentment has been growing under your unmet expectations, this is the work that we do in coaching. It's not about fixing or controlling him. That happens, but inadvertently, because when we reconnect with ourselves, with God, we create the connection, the peace, all of it that just spirals everything up. All right? So if you're ready for that, book a marriage strategy call for me. I'll put the link down below. You can always go to my website, createmyhappymarriage.com, and I have a free Skool Community that you can connect with me as well. So all the links will be down below. So be sure to subscribe and leave a comment. I appreciate you. All right, let's begin. And who knows, you might get something like this. Check this out. I get all these little love notes I've been finding all over the house. I don't know if you can read that or not, but it just says, my husband says CB, so we go by initials around here. I love you. YAB. That means you're AB. So his initials, right? So it's just so cute. Like, I'm finding them everywhere. So that can happen for you. Remember, 10 years ago, we were separated and heading for divorce. Now, we just celebrated 36 years and things, I get love notes, right? And things like that. So you too can create the peace and happiness that you desire. I'm standing for you. I'm Coach Carol. God bless your day.